And welcome to episode 62 of the Gaslec podcast. I hope you're all keeping well. This week's episode, I want to talk to you about you're into plumbing and heating, you've got your experience, you're working for somebody else and you want to go on your own. Already you've gone on your own and you want a bit of help moving forward and growing. So this episode is just for you guys. I've got a couple of hints and tips on some places to go and some things to avoid as well. But first of all, here's my friend Sean to tell you a bit more about the podcast. Are you a new person coming into plumbing and heating? Are you a homeowner that likes a bit of DIY? Or are you a business owner and want a bit more knowledge before you make some decisions on your plumbing and heating? Stay tuned to the podcast and hopefully we'll be able to help you out with some of your questions. And welcome back. Thank you very much indeed for listening. And we're watching looking at the figures up on the old feed spot and stuff for the top 30 plumbing and heating podcasts within the UK. And we're always up in the top 10. It was number 6 when I looked the other day. So thank you very much indeed. It all helps with the algorithm listening through. So this week's episode, I want to talk to you about you're thinking about going on your own, or you're already just gone on your own, you're finding it a little bit on the difficult side. So what I want to do, so before you start and you want to make sure you feel ready before you go out on your own, basically you're not going to feel ready. So don't wait until you have perfect conditions. So there'll always be the wedding, there'll always be the holiday, there'll always be, oh, we're going to be moving in a couple of years, how about we start a family, or we'll do this, we'll do that, Auntie Flo's coming over from Australia, so we'll do that first. And all of those little distractions, we'll just call them. And ultimately it's all down to something called procrastination. So it is going to feel really scary when you go out on your own, and it's not going to feel that comfortable because you're doing something brand new. So all I'll say is start small and build momentum from there. So get something behind you, get your friends and family on board, tell them what your vision, what your dream is, and hopefully they'll support you on your adventures. So no matter what you do, right, so whether you're into plumbing and heating, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you look at the core of businesses, it's all about solving somebody's problem. And that's a real problem. That's not, if you've got 500,000 pairs of shoes, where are you going to store them? We've got this lovely new little box for them. That's unrealistic, isn't it? No one's got that many pairs of bloody shoes. Even the shoe shops don't have that much stock. But, a real problem, like here at Gaslec, we've got a problem that a customer needs a new boiler. We've got a customer that the radiators aren't heating up. We've got a customer that they've got a water leak. A customer that they can smell gas. A customer, they want air conditioning installed into their property or their outbuilding. Whatever it is, it's a problem that they can't solve that we can. And basically that is the real basics of business. So whatever you do, if you're in plumbing and heating, great. If you're not, say la vie, easy peasies, but find a real problem for people and then genuinely solve it. So don't solve it with we could solve all your things here, just give us 200 quid to me mate over there and he'll get it sorted and then fly by nights. But you're actually creating a proper business and being transparent with the customers as well about what their problem is and how you're going to resolve it, and some timescales as well there with them as well. So if you keep things really simple, simplicity will scale. So if you just keep that in mind as you move on. So customer service is everything. Reliability, honesty, and communications are your best marketing tool. Now, I'll be honest, communication ain't exactly my strong point. I do get a little bit sidewinded and I'll go, what's this? What's going on? I have so many things going on in my world every single day. And that's why I rely on my PA, to really take the reins with my diary, my schedule. And she keeps on top of, have you done this? Have you done that? We've got an email come through back, going to the opticians or the dentist or whatever it'll be. And she keeps on top because I've just got so much going on. But the main thing, the core of everything we do sort of here and with you guys, I say is honesty. So if you can't make it because you forgot, tell them you forgot and be honest. If you overrun on a job, you overrun on a job. If the parts didn't turn up genuinely, and that's what you've been told by the suppliers, that's then what you tell them, and just be honest and transparent, because you'll always remember the truth, but you'll always forget a lie. And then as soon as someone realises and smells a rat that you're telling porcupines, that's it. They've lost all the trust in you. And if they're letting into your homes, their castles, their sanctuaries, on your own to be working, and there's no trust there and there's no honesty, that's it. It's gone, mate. It's all broken down. So just do that. And I sometimes I'm a bit too honest for my own good when it comes to it all, but that's really where you need to be. And sometimes the best customers we ever get are the ones that we've actually let down, because we learn the most from them, and we get the feedback, and we get a bit of a telling off, as you do, from the client. Obviously they've had to wait in, you didn't turn up, you didn't tell us, we sat around staring at the telly, or whatever they had to do. They didn't do this, they didn't do that, because they was waiting for you. And that's the best sort of training and learning from them. And when you're looking them in their eyes when they're telling you that, you can really get a sense of where you need to improve. But after doing so many jobs and stuff, for myself and for the whole of the wider team as well, we do a lot of learning, and we're picking up on little bits and pieces, just become that 1% better every single week as we're working our way through. So know your numbers. So there's another plumber friend of mine. I don't think he listens to this. I won't name him by name, but I've known him for a good while now. And I was talking about numbers. Now, I'm not the best. I'm dyslexic and stuff like that. But you need to know your core numbers. And I said to him, what's your number? What's your number every single day, week, month, whatever it, quarter, yearly, whatever you need to earn to cover your basic costs. And obviously things vary, like petrol and wear and tear. The more miles you do, the more petrol, the more tyres, all that sort of stuff. The servicing comes around quicker on the van. But just get a baseline of where you need to be. What's your what's the cost of your accountant? What's the cost of your van finance? What's the cost of the road tax? What's the cost of the MOT? And then work that into your yearly, monthly, quarterly, or whatever it is cost that you have. And then boil that breakdown and go, right, now I need to charge myself out at X amount per day, and I need to achieve that to cover my personal income, and then the business costs and a tiny bit of profit, so we can move forwards. So knowing your numbers, it really, really is super important. And when you're starting to make a loss on things that sometimes you do, you overlook something and you put that on and put this on, or a job runs over, you need to really learn from that super, super quick, because you can't duplicate that 20 times down the road, because then that's when you'll end up going bust. So understand your numbers, your costs, your profits, and the amount of time that it's taken for you. And people always go, oh yeah, well, I'm just going to pop in, I'll go on a Saturday morning. But you really need to add that in as well. But don't forget that profit part, because that profit part, also so in any holiday that you're going to take. If you're going to take 2 weeks a year, 3 weeks a year, what about Christmas? What about that sort of shutdown time? You need to tie that into your numbers as well. So promote yourself early, talk about your business, your idea, do some online presence, and be proud be proud of your prices. So whenever anyone, at the moment we charge 90 quid for a boiler service, it was how much for a boiler service? 90 quid with a VAT. And I'm the first one to put it online, to say, actually, that's what we charge, and I'll stand by that. So many people, I'll PM you, I'll DM you for a cost or a price of a relatively straightforward job. Outside tap with materials, about 120 quid-ish with the VAT, if you want us to do it or not. But people think it's a bit of a secret and it's a little bit cloak and dagger. It's not. You Google it, you can see people all around the country, and I'm proud of our prices, because I know our prices, we have a tiny bit of profit in there, and if it does go wrong, we'll go back and we'll put it right. The people that want to race to the bottom and do an outside tap for 30 quid, when it goes wrong, will you see them again? And it's just like anything, like insurance, like a seatbelt. Here was one other analogy for you. If you're about to crash the car, you can't pause time, put your seatbelt on, then crash. You've got to have it on first time. So it's just like that with profit. You can't go back to the customer and say, actually, yeah, I didn't really sort of factor in about coming back if there was a problem. So can you pay me, please? That doesn't happen. So you need to factor in a little bit of that profit, and hopefully you won't get called back. And enough of those jobs added together will give you that maybe 1 in 20 callback fee to go back to, or whatever it is, whatever your USP is on that there. So, when I was going out, I first went self-employed on my own in 2003. So we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have social media, we didn't have smartphones. We had a TomTom sat nav to get around, which was a massive improvement on the A to Z map books to try and find out where we got to go. So this day and age, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, really. So you've got all the, I had Yellow Pages to advertise, and the Thompson Local, physical books. Nowadays, people can just look you up 3 a.m. There you are. That's what you've been doing. Whether it's great, whether it's bad, however you want to see that, it's a bit difficult. But that's the sort of world we live in now. Everything's instant. People send you an email. Can you come back to us? If you don't reply in sort of 2-3 minutes, they're on to the next one. So that's a bit of a negative side to all the technology we have. But what's really good is that you can look at other businesses and see what they do and see how they're going. So when remember, when you work for yourself, okay, it's just a profitable job. So people say, and I know people that work for themselves and they say that they've got their business, and great, however you want to see it. But realistically, if you broke your leg and you sat at home, you're not earning any money. So, and your bills are piling up and no income's coming in. So it's just really a profitable job. So build a team and you build a business. And my goal here is to hire myself out of a job. So every little job that I'm doing, I really want to make myself redundant from it. So we've got Kelly coming in. So we had young Kim, she left the business, and we've got Kelly coming on board next week, which is absolutely fantastic. And Kelly's going to be taking over some of the stuff that I do on the digital side and the business development sort of side of things. So that's another sort of area that I'm trying to make myself redundant from. So we'll give her the skills, we'll give her the training, we'll give her the tools and equipment to be able to do that. And hopefully she'll be able to run around with that. But she seems like a fantastic person. So we're super excited to get her on board and see what fresh ideas she can bring to us as well. Not coming from the plumbing and heating industry. I think that's absolutely amazing. Places to sort of learn from. When you get an outsider coming in and then you talk to them and you tell them what you do and how you do it, and then they come in with their sort of fresh ideas. I absolutely love that. So another little tip for you guys is just to keep learning. Now, I learn every single day. I hardly ever listen to the radio. I listen to audiobooks. I listen to podcasts. I do a lot of driving and doing what I do. And just remember, a goldfish will only grow to the size of its bowl. So for you personally, you'll only grow to the size of your bowl. And a little bit of a sidetrack here, actually. I've just remembered this. The VAT threshold limit, whatever it is, 80,000, 85, 90,000 pounds, or whatever it is. We find that I got involved in a conversation online on a Facebook group talking about VAT. Now, personally, I think that the VAT threshold actually held us back here, or held me back when we was growing, because we got to that point and we were sort of hit like 80 grand turnover, and we go, right, I want to take the next person on, but that will turn me over. I want to get myself this, but that will take me over. So really the VAT threshold, I think we should bring it down in this country to like 20 grand, and then we start from there. And I think there'll be a lot more small businesses pushing through, but there's so many that stop at that boundary. Builders, I'll get the customer to buy all the materials because I'm frightened of going over. And genuinely, the best thing I ever did was taking that courage and that leap to burst through that VAT threshold, which we did, and we took on our first member of staff and the second van within Gaslec here. And I think that's super important. Then that but at that point, my goldfish bowl started to grow. And then because my bowl got bigger, I started to grow bigger, and I started to realise that. And then when I realised that was getting too busy with the two of us on the road and me doing all the admin, I got my first PA, old Jojo. Actually, I saw her at the weekend, actually, with her family. It was actually lovely to catch up with her. So from that side, was then able to take on the third member of staff and to sort of push and to grow the business from there. So I think it's really, really important that you can visualize where you are. And if you don't, you'll only grow to the size of your environment. So you need to think bigger and be bigger and grow your mind. And then that's when you can start really seeing the growth there. And people want to work for good people that invest in them. Humans want to grow and learn and earn more money. We're all growing in the business, we're growing the business and the team members as well. But setting a culture is really important from the start. So here at Gaslec, honesty and integrity is a massive part in what we do. If you make a mistake, cough it, put your hands in the air. We'll sort it and we'll learn from it and we'll discuss it. So I really don't want things being swept under the carpet, things that are broken. Just tell us and we'll deal with it, because it's better to deal with it here and now than it is when the customer finds it, or we've got a special job on and we need that thingy-me-bob, and I go there and it's missing, it's broken, something's been taken off of it or borrowed or whatever it is, and then we've got to deal with it at lastminute.com. So just that honesty and integrity right from the get-go is super, super important. So we've got a guy that we're interviewing on Tuesday, so we're going to see how that goes for another person on the road. So one thing I always ask on interviews is what and why. So I love those two words there. So what's really, really important is why. What's your why? What's your purpose? And what do you want to do? So where you are now is great, awesome, but what do you want to become? Where do you want to be? And if you've got someone that's after some dusty heights of they want to be on the C-suite of a big executive suite in a big international company, and then coming to work here at little old Gaslec, we're never going to achieve anything like that in doing what we do. We're not British Gas and we're not Home Swerve or anyone like that. So we're just who we are. But if you find out what people's what and why is, and then you can really sort of work from there. We did have a member of staff that unfortunately left the company, and their sort of why they're doing the job sort of was that they weren't motivated by money. So most people have got a financial motivation, and money wasn't their motivation. So when it come to doing stuff, they wanted to finish early, which is absolutely fine. They wanted to get off. They didn't want to put too much energy and effort into it. They didn't want to sort of upskill themselves and put themselves forwards. They're just quite happy sitting in their lane, doing what they do, and then going home, which is a bit of a rare thing, really, be honest, these days. But that person that was where they were in their life at that time, and I wish them genuinely all the best. But it's always asking, what's your motivation and why do you want to do it? And once you can find that out, they want to supply for their family, they want to grow, fantastic, and that's what it's all about. And just remember, skills can be learned, but attitude is the most difficult to change. And if somebody is on board with you for your sort of ethics and your morals within the business, and and their attitude's great, and we can say, do you know what, we can teach you skills. And we can teach you this and we can teach you that. We can teach you our way of doing it, which is fantastic. And if they've got a great attitude to learning, fantastic. I'd rather employ somebody like that than someone that's got all the skills and got a stinky attitude, because that you'll never ever win with that one. And so the last thing I want to add upon this sort of subject here is there will all be people that will be jealous of what you have. Now, I ain't got a lot. I've just got a 3-bedroom terraced house, to be honest, up in Gillingham, and I've got a motorbike that I play around on. It's not brand new, but that's I've got my little hobbies. You see them on social media and stuff that I crack on with, but. People are jealous of what you have, but they're not jealous of what it took you to get there. Now, this is 6:52 on the Sunday evening, and I'm up here recording the podcast and doing some bits here in the office. I worked majority of yesterday being the Saturday. On Friday, we had a family day. I ended up going to work. It was only supposed to do a couple of little bits. I ended up working all day. A bit of another story on Friday. But no one's ever says to you, "Oh, that's all right, mate. I'd love to come and help you and do this and do that." And they're not jealous of what it took you to get there. If you understand what I'm meaning. Be prepared for what I call time vampires, which are people that want to latch onto you. So I had a phone call from a person that I haven't spoke to for years, and they rung me up, and I was, "How you doing? You all right? How you getting on?" And basically, they wanted information to help themselves onto something else. They weren't interested in what I've been up to. They weren't interested in my family. When I asked them about their family, what's going on, they're a bit cagey with it all. So these people, they're out for their own gain, and they're not don't feel that genuine with it all. So just be mindful of people that want to sort of suck your energy and your time away there to help themselves. The online directory, beware of the people that online directories like your Checker Trades. We've come away from Checker Trade. I really don't like that business and the way they deal with the people on there and stuff like that. If you're on it and it works for you, happy days. It didn't work for us, and I didn't like the way they conducted themselves as a business. So be careful of those, because they'll suck you in for all this stuff. For all these entries, and then there'll be the big upsell of going into a physical directory to go out into people's houses and different areas and different categories to try and sort of upsell you. And the web experts, your CEOs, your websites and stuff like that, you can get it done for really, really cheap these days for what it used to be back in the old .com bubble. So just be careful of being drawn in. It's only this a month, it's only that a year, but have a good shop around. Don't make the decision sort of just like off the cuff. And so be genuine, be kind, and do the right thing by people. And genuine people will see that. You will get the Mickey takers out there. You will get the people that are out for themselves. But actually, be honest, they're few and far between. So yeah, don't worry too much about that. But if you have the correct morals and upstanding, then you will attract those people. And going back to last week's episode, a bit woo-woos and the old universe, you put your energy out there, you'll find other people with the same energy there as well. So last week, what we've been up to in Gaslec. So we've had some staff holidays, and I've mentioned we got the new starter coming on board. We've expanded the offices last weekend, I think it was. So we've done a big expansion on the office next door to give us a bigger office space. We've had lots of work going on with that and getting all that set up, getting the desks done, the telephones done, putting the printer in its new place, the scanner, make sure it all works, and then getting all the security stuff done with the telephones, with the alarm and all the camera system that we have here, and the security bits and pieces at Gaslec on both our little sites. So we'll be getting into the decorating as well. So it's just another little thing to try and sort of get sorted. And be honest, sometimes it feels like it's non-stop. Trying to get these, I'm trying to run the business, get the team sorted, make sure everything's happy days on that side, and then going, right, okay, what about this here? What about a new computer? What about the shelving and the organisation, the little plastic boxes to put things in? How are we going to organise that? What's that going to ultimately look like? And so sometimes I have to shut my eyes to see, sort of have a bit of vision on where we want to be and what's it going to look like. So next week, I looked through the diary for obviously for doing the podcast. I have 15 quotes booked in for new business, for new bits and pieces next week. just on its own. So that's going to be on top of all the bits and pieces I've got to do, plus 15 quotes over the 5 days. At the moment, I'm recording this on the Sunday, and we have 34 jobs already booked in for the team. So that will grow. That will probably grow another 10 jobs, I reckon, maybe slightly more, that get booked in as we go through the week. So next week is super, super busy. I was up here yesterday, being the Saturday, so I like to think forwards, and I like to do promotions, and I like to give into community events as well. So I ordered 36 kilos of sweets to give away on social media. And so I've got some buckets, some brand new buckets, and I've got all these little pre-packaged little tiny sweets. They're not like loose little jelly babies or anything. And then we started filling the buckets up. So we've got 8 buckets of sweets weighing about 4.7 kilos each to give away to community events. So really, that's on, sort of going back to sort of last week's episode, really, giving into the community and being out there and doing the right thing, and getting our name out there as well. I've got some stickers on the buckets, and they can keep the buckets at the end if they want. So it's just a way of getting our name, our brand out there and what we do, and hopefully more and more people will use us as a business, will trust us as a business, and will listen to this podcast and help grow this as well. And ultimately, all of this circles round is all about, this is all needed to get to my goal of where we want to be. And I have a bit of a vision here at Gaslec, and where I'd like to see the business to a point where, I'm in the office, I'm not having to leave. We've got everybody doing my roles for us. We've got maybe 10 vans out there on the road full time. We've got 3 admin staff full time, and it's all almost ticking along without me sort of being involved day to day in it. And that's sort of my goal, really. So I can sort of take a bit of a step back and then watch it all go through, and then take on some of my sort of charity stuff. And I've got some other ideas coming up in future where we can get about some more community-based stuff. So that's really what it's all about. And my hair's going greyer and it's going thinner with it all, and I know, and I'm not getting any younger. So there we are. So we wasn't interrupted, because this is actually the second recording of the podcast. We had a massive crack of thunder, and we got a tin roof here, and the rain come down so hard you couldn't hear it. We got the little sound thing there, and I had to stop the recording and stop until the rain stopped. So that's where we are. So thank you very much indeed for listening, guys. I hope you made it all the way to the end. Check out our social media for any of our community giveaways that will be coming up, which is really part of what we do here at Gaslec. You take care, have a fantastic week, and I hope this episode was of a help. Goodbye.